بسم الله نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I welcome you all, brothers and sisters, to this work-life balance a session on how to proceed with balancing your multiple roles that you carry ahead in your life. I hope and pray the journey so far with IAU has been a well and fulfilling journey for you. And I hope you've been able to carry your responsibilities and your studies in a better manner. So, in tonight's sessions, I wish to share as student counselor at IAU what work life balance really means and how we can manage our personal life and our studies and our work and our responsibilities together. How can we carry and juggle that load? How can we take it forward? And how can we explore uh, these responsibilities without falling, without wavering? And even when we fall, how do we stand up straight again to carry our responsibilities further? So I'll be sharing a few quick tips and some practical tips with you so that I can help you guide and navigate through the different challenges that you may be facing in your life. So we'll be talking about understanding work and work-life balance from a holistic perspective. We'll be talking about avoiding burnout while fulfilling our responsibilities. We'll also be talking about how faith plays a role here, how we can use guidance from our beloved Dean in helping us move forward, and how we can navigate these challenges with purpose and clarity, inshallah. So, the first and the foremost that I would like to mention, and a very essential tip, it's definitely um, frequently mentioned in our circles, but it's an essential skill to acquire and to understand and to know deeply what does setting boundaries means for ourselves. If we are in a situation where we are meant to be managing multiple roles, defining our boundaries is something that keeps helps us keep our balance, helps us keep our sanity, helps us keep performing at our optimum levels. So when it comes to the work-life balance, striking a balance between our work and studies and personal life, it's very important that our boundaries are defined. Now, if we imagine our house where we have a boundary, a fence around our house, and we allow only a certain number of members to enter our house, only the people who are welcome. And then we have our living rooms and our bedrooms, and we have our private spaces. And we only allow certain people at certain times into areas that we want them to be there. Boundaries are just like these fences, where we allow certain people certain requests and accommodate them according to where and how comfortable we are with those requests entering into our life. In our personal and professional lives, boundaries help us distinguish who and what is allowed in our time and space. They help set a clear path. It helps prevent conflicts. Um, Boundaries mean that we have specific hours for work, specific hours for family, specific hours for studies, and we're able to disassociate these hours from each other. We're able to respect our boundaries when we set them for ourselves, and we stop ourselves from bringing our work into our home space, our home into our study space, and our studies into our workspace. This is a challenging task to do. However, being challenging doesn't mean it's impossible. Um, Once we start gradually stepping into that role and we start respecting for ourselves at the limits that we've set, the people around us also start respecting it and acknowledging it. And we think we might be achieving a lot by carrying all of it together, but in reality, when we put it into specific slots, we are more focused, we are more present, we are able to take a task at a time and give it our full and complete it in a more efficient manner. So, for defining our boundaries, we set our work schedules for ourselves, and once we practice them, we communicate to people around us. Um, we have specific hours assigned to each responsibility. We learn to say no to to non-essential commitments. Considering our situation, we learn how to prioritize and how to politely move away from every request that is made towards us in a respectful, in a polite, in pleasant manner, uh, giving as much weightage and importance to ourselves as we would like to give others, basically. And this, in turn, protects our time and it prevents conflicts from arising, it prevents our burnout, it prevents us from using ourselves, our energies, our emotional reserves, so much so that we're not available at a time that may be more important, more significant than the time we were being available. So, making sure our boundaries are clear and set and communicated formally, so much so that our life is not revolving entirely around just our work, or maybe just our family, or maybe just our studies, or maybe just our ibadah, prevents us being living an unbalanced life that is non-productive. So another tip with regards to our work-life balance is managing our time well. Once we have defined our boundaries, our work hours, our study hours, and we know what is happening when, the next step is to understand our time and where it goes. So, one misnomer or misconception that we have around time is that we can manage our time. In reality, time is running on its own. We can only manage ourselves in that time. We do not have the ability to stop the time and manage it into chunks. Rather, we just have the ability to manage ourselves within that time that's constantly running. So, a poor work-life balance, usually it comes from if we have poor managing skills. It's not coming from the conflicts or the academic difficulty or maybe the amount of course content you perceive or the difficulty of the course or the volume of the assignments and tests and quizzes that are expected from you, it's actually coming from our inability to manage ourselves in the time that was assigned to us. When we struggle to balance our work, studies, and personal life, it often means that we were not intentional when we were managing ourselves in the time that was available. So, planning our days, creating checklists, creating whatever system or schedule that works for us, acknowledging our personality when it comes to managing um, our work ethics, acknowledging the rate at which we like to do, the time, the duration, how much attention spans do we have, which times are we most energetic and most available, which times am I most functional? Do I have the most energy? The Fajr time, that's right after Fajr or before Fajr for some people, when we may feel the most barakah that lasts throughout the day, maximizing using that time or any other time that suits our performance is maximizing on intrinsic abilities that we've been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So while juggling work, studies, and families, creating a daily checklist, identifying the most important tasks for the day, and most important tasks for the week, and identifying what works for ourselves. Do the checklists work? Do assigning weekly chores work? Do minimizing distractions work? Is adding blocking apps on the devices we use work? What's robbing me of my time the most? What are my time thieves that I need to have a check on and save for myself? And again, if we are procrastinating and if we are finding ourselves in distraction mode, so what are those overwhelmed feelings? And what are those emotional baggages? Or what are those things that are weighing me down, but that is causing me the distraction? Uh, what is stopping me from going back to work or studies? What is the resentment? What is the emotional pain or hurdle associated with it? Resolving that, addressing it, facing and sitting with it, so that we're more present and conscious and intentional when we choose to go back to our work. So this all helps in managing ourselves with our time and helping us being more productive and study at a better pace. So the Prophet ﷺ reminded us that there are two blessings many people waste, um, health and free time. And this is a powerful reminder to take our time seriously. Many people spend hours at work and hours scrolling through social media, and yet they claim that they do not have time to study. So if something truly matters to us, Allah will help us make time for it. If we have the deep intention and the deep craving, and then Allah will make us ways for us to accomplish that. All we need is a desire that burns deep. Moving ahead, another thing that is very important and very helpful is prioritizing and delegating. Prioritizing and delegating are key in managing our time effectively. We need to identify our daily priorities, and when we identify those, uh, what we can do, we can just select around 5 of the most important tasks. Let's call them the fast 5, and we just pick a small number so that for our brain, it's easy to remember, easy to focus on, and it does not give us the overwhelmed feeling. So when you have a 20,000 list in your mind and it's not very clear, you're not even sure about how many tasks you really have to do. It's just a burdensome cloud of tasks that's there, um, fogging your mind. You've not numbered the tasks, you're not aware of what they are. They create an increased sense of overwhelm that does not give you the energy to embark on even one of those tasks. When you have a list of tasks, you know their number. You know they're 12 or 15 or 17. And it's easier to imagine the amount of energy, the amount of time, the amount of investment you require from yourself to accomplish those. So it's more clear, it's more discrete, it's more practical. And when you identify five of those, you've shortlisted it. You've shortlisted it to a practical number that you're aiming for the day. And when you've done that, you are able to actually sometimes accomplish more than those five tasks. Because to our surprise, we normally find that we're able to accomplish more than the five tasks that we assigned for ourselves. Those five tasks take us much less time that we originally thought that they would take. But the initial motivation, the initial inertia that we have that stops us from restarting, that's a big step to take. So, what's helpful is we create a list, we list down all the tasks, whatever's coming up our mind, we add up to that list. Just choose the major five and try attempting it for the day. You'll be surprised by the number of tasks you manage by the end of the day. So, after this activity, which is prioritizing, there may be tasks in that list that can be delegated to others and whom may actually do it more efficiently, better, much better than you. You can ask others for help. You can delegate them to people around you, your family members, your colleagues, your friends. Um, and this will help you stay on task at par with your list and remove the overburdening, overwhelmed feeling that is associated with such lists. And again, while delegating, it's important to be mindful not to overwhelm others. Assign tasks that matter, that match their abilities, their capacity, so that cooperation again remains positive and sustainable. And we're obviously making sure that we are being polite and courteous and taking care of our family members enough when we're delegating them tasks. However, we should not be so hesitant that we should be thinking that all the work, all the tasks should be performed by myself and I should not be taking any help from anybody around me. So, moving ahead, communication is an essential and a very important skill, and it plays a crucial role in maintaining our balance in our work and life. Um, Working students should communicate openly with their employers. Once exams are approaching, uh, make sure you inform your employer in advance, even if time off is not possible, keeping them in the loop, informing them about your study goals, where you are, and how you're engaged. Um, it helps build understanding and trust. So it's very important if you're in a working role and you have your assignments coming up or any due dates, your higher ups are informed about this. So they may be more acknowledging and more accepting than you actually think about the situation. Similarly, communicating with your colleagues so they're aware of your academic commitments, and they help manage the expectations from you during those periods when you may be less available or slower in response. So communication is an important element that should not be considered of less importance at all. Uh, Communicating effectively with those around you, with your family members, with with your loved ones, so that the expectations from yourself are clearer, and that helps address conflicts beforehand. So sharing your challenges, your struggles, and concerns from with your family members is important instead of suffering in silence. Many students, they bottle up everything, and over time, this pressure becomes very overwhelming. So asking for advice and support, even from the university, in terms of student counseling services or student success supervising team that we have, so that you are aware of all possible options that are available for you that are there to support you. So finding synergies. Now, y- finding synergies between your work and family life and academic studies is a beautiful phenomenon. Um, what's helpful is trying to integrate whatever you're learning into your daily life, whether you're studying psychology, Islamic studies, Arabic, or any other discipline. You apply your knowledge practically. Here, we're not studying for grades or certificates. We're here to grow and improve. So, sharing whatever you learn with your family and discussing with your friends and colleagues and relating it to real life situations, this makes learning more meaningful and engaging. You can also commit to projects or voluntary activities that align with your studies. For example, a psychology student may volunteer for counseling related initiatives at a locally set up space. The experiences can help reinforce learning and keep the motivation high. Mindset really matters because if you are viewing the studies as a burden and the perception is becoming a reality, so instead of seeing your journey in learning as a voyage with calm seas and rough waves, with ease and difficulty, um, we get lost in the noise and the rumble, and we forget that every phase contributes to growth. So just reframing and thinking our studies are an opportunity. There are an opportunity to become a better version of myself. And if I'm utilizing it to improve upon myself, even if I'm facing hardship and difficulty, and I have to exercise my jihad in so many aspects of my life, it's effort on my part, and it's helpful, and it's going to help me grow, and it's going to increase my strength, and it's going to increase my stamina for other parts. So Allah reminds us in the Quran that He provides from sources we do not expect, and that whoever places trust in Him, He's sufficient for him. Having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has chosen us for His journey, for seeking knowledge, which itself is an act of worship. turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever we are in a struggle, turning to only Him with focus, um, turning to Him for increase and barakah in our time and motivation is going to be helpful as a supplication and help us in our path on knowledge. So, life is unpredictable and it can never be perfect. There will be good days and difficult days. Some days may be able to complete several modules effortlessly, and on other days, um, we may struggle even to log in. But this is normal, and this is a situation that is found with everybody. When plans do not work out and we are drowning in guilt, we should have a plan B. If you have planned to study but an unexpected commitment arose, we can just calmly reschedule and adjust and adapting to our circumstances and looking for the best possible solution that is now more suited to our present circumstances is actually showing a belief in the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being in a state of rida, in a state of agreement and happiness with the new circumstances that Allah has chose for us. So just adapting, which may mean um, pausing our studies, which may mean slowing down our pace, which may mean increasing our pace, which may mean investing more or less according to our time and health and circumstances. So, managing multiple courses alongside work and family, if it becomes overwhelming, um, seeking support and reaching out and exploring different options that you may have from the university or maybe your work situation is a part of being flexible because you're ready to accept the change, you're ready to move on, and you're ready to adapt alongside it. Another important aspect that requires our attention is practicing self care. So, our well being is extremely important. Getting enough sleep, eating properly, and maintaining physical activities that improve our focus and productivity and balance are, are very essential. Creating moments of flow and choosing activities that make us feel content and regenerated and provide meaning to us, provide us with contentment. Uh, those should be practiced, those should be identified, those should be recognized and prioritized. They could be reading, they could be getting a walk outside in the nature, painting, meeting friends, um, whatever relaxes our system and helps us reflect and connect not only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but within ourselves, reaching out and seeing for within how am I doing? How relaxed am I? What's troubling me? What's distracting me? What's taking away my focus? Identifying those and just spending time alone, sitting down to identify so that we're better equipped to care for ourselves, our bodily, our emotional and physical and spiritual needs. And that's such an essential element that actually helps us enhance a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we are able to identify a realness with which we can be present in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our true own essence. So yes, mm, practicing self-care, we talked about taking care of our bodies, our emotional and our mental health, our physical health, and then our spiritual health, our iman, like by being mindful of our salah, making regular askars, morning and evening askars, and seeking the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through supplications from laziness, procrastination, and weakness of iman. So these spiritual practices, these are powerful tools for productivity and balance, and they provide us with the energy we need to stay calm and stable in whatever circumstances we may be. So these were a few tips from my end, and I thank you for tuning in to our session. If you need any help with planning your studies, advice, or support, just feel free to reach out. You may book an appointment with myself, and I would be happy to assist you as your student counselor. If you have any questions right now, you can just feel free to share them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer. I pray that Allah makes your studies fruitful for you. May Allah make your time productive and your journey full of barakah in His path. Ameen. Okay. Um, I thank you again for your time, inshallah. So there's one question: how to end the spirit of I have time to write assignment and study. I have this spirit and it's costing a lot. So by this question, I understand this is a mode of procrastination, that I do have time. Uh, we learn from the story of Ka'b bin Malik that he was a Sahabi who was engaged by this same waswasa that was from, say, shaitan, that I have time and I'm going to join the people, the ashab, the Prophet ﷺ, who had left for the Battle of Tabuk. And I'm going to join them later on. Let me enjoy my garden and let me enjoy my fruits for now. I have fast horses and I'm going to join them even if they've left. So whenever this comes to us, we should remember his story of the Sahabi Ka'b bin Malik. Because although he had the fast horses, but his gardens and his I have time, that waswasa kept dragging him on. And the people returned from Tabuk. And then he had to face a very painful situation of after that. So this tells us that whenever this waswasa comes to us, it's our job to recognize it, that it's not our voice, it's not a helpful voice, it's a waswasa from shaitan, and we need to prepare our horses and carry on. We need to climb our horses and move forward. So in our case, we should be dragging out our assignment pads, and for now, for the online students, as we speak, our iPads, and start scribbling and start writing and start working on our assignment, because that is a waswasa that is not to be entertained. I hope that answers that question for yourself. So inshallah, if there are no more questions, let's just wind up our session. I wish and pray for you a fruitful end to the semester. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.